So about 2 years ago, I made this video in which I talked about what I wanted to see in the upcoming Five Nights at Freddy's movie, done entirely with a black screen.
That is one big pile of shit.
A few months later, in November 2023, I made a sequel to that video, actually reviewing the movie, in which most of my expectations were somewhat met.
Do not trust strangers to send you packages.
I cringe looking back at these videos today and think they've aged horribly due to my horrendous editing and lazy-ass voice. Because of that, I will quickly recap my thoughts on the first FNaF movie before talking about the sequel. The first FNaF movie was met with fairly mixed reviews. Not only did most of the fans love it, the critics did not, and chances are, a good bit of people new to FNaF may not be too thrilled either, due to the movie throwing a crap ton of information at the viewer that only a good chunk of us FNaF fans are more familiar with. That's not to say the movie bombed, because how else would you make $300 million worldwide? My opinion on the very first Five Nights at Freddy's movie can be best summed up as peaks and valleys, in which I think some things that the movie did well were notably great with its scenery, animatronics, cinematography, and the acting, mostly. But some things the movie gets wrong just kind of feels weird, like having an abrupt, inconsistent change of tone when it comes to scenes like this. Pretty much, I like the FNaF movie, but I'm hesitant to say that I love it. So what do I think about the second film's trailer? Well, it's okay. I love the concept of the Faz Talker, and I find it interesting that the toy characters are roaming outside of the pizzeria. And the Wizards are nice. I would be lying if I said I was not skeptical about how much better or worse this movie is going to be than the first film. So, much like last time, I put together a few notes about what I expect from the second FNaF movie. You like how I said the video title? The very first note I have is that I want the movie to have a more stable horror tone. The first movie's horror was mostly alright in the first half, but the second half kind of felt a little more action-focused on Afton, and the horror just kind of vanished. I'm not just talking about the fort scene, which yes, I could do without. But for me, the movie kinda loses the horror element in favor of more red eyes that don't really compete with the mostly blackened eyes with white pupils in the original game, and us fans already knowing who plays the villain. Recently, the actor Skeet Ulrich, mostly known for being in Scream with Matthew Lillard, is revealed to play Henry Emily in the second FNaF film. Which yes, does sound cool, but am I the only one that feels a little bummed out that I'm not going to be too surprised when I actually go see the movie after hearing this news? I think revealing exactly who plays who in one of these things can definitely take part in how you watch the movie and possibly feel less scared by knowing that Shaggy is not with Scooby this time. So yeah, I hope FNaF 2 balances horror better than the first, and hopefully we don't get anything immersion-breaking like that freaking fort scene. The second point I have is that I hope they make sense of the locations shown in the trailer. Not too much to say here other than I hope there's no stupid reason for the animatronics breaking into a school. My very last point is that I hope they continue the story in a sensical way. It's clear to me they may have mashed a few elements from not only the games but also some of the books to craft this movie lore, and as someone who has barely read any of the Freddy's books, I'm sorry, it's kind of a tough pill for me to swallow. As much as I prefer FNaF 2 being a prequel, I'm still excited and skeptical about how they're gonna make this a sequel, aside from the plot exploring another abandoned location and this Faz Fest that kinda sounds cool. I also hope this movie will be more friendly to those not as familiar with FNaF who walked out of the first movie mostly confused, unlike many of us fans of the franchise. My dad liked the first FNaF movie, and despite him not being a fan of the games, he still liked how it was trying to tell its story and got some enjoyment out of it. I feel like if this movie turns out to be worse than the first, I might think twice about checking out any future installment, because I'm getting really sick of people just glazing everything FNaF that comes out and says it's just absolutely amazing. No disrespect to anyone here, but that's just how I feel. I don't have the best reason as to why Five Nights at Freddy's is my favorite horror franchise, other than I think it's crazy in many ways, both good and bad. Though I might be exaggerating a bit when I say I might not see the FNaF 3 movie. I just get more worried when I hear so many more folks completely dismiss FNaF entirely, saying it's stupid and not scary. Which, yeah, I get it. I can understand that opinion. I get it. But also, Tunnel Vision has over 5 million views, so should I really shut my trap?